Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss stories like this, stories of history, rarity, and hidden treasures you may already have in your own home. Let me take you on a journey. A journey that begins in a small corner of your drawer, perhaps tucked away in an old box. Maybe you saw it once, maybe it belonged to your father or grandfather. It's not flashy. It's not gold. But it carries more weight than you can imagine, not just in value, but in history, identity, and legacy. We're talking about a coin. Not just any coin. A 20-cent coin, minted in 1965, in South Africa. Now, to the untrained eye, this coin may seem simple. Modest. A silver-colored circle with the familiar springbok flower, the protea, on the back. But what lies beneath this surface is a story that begins decades ago, in a country that was changing, divided, and on the cusp of historical shifts that would echo across the world. In 1965, South Africa was in the thick of the apartheid era. This coin was minted just a few years after South Africa left the Commonwealth and declared itself a republic. The Queen was no longer on the coins. Instead, the obverse bore the face of Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial administrator and founder of Cape Town. His image symbolized a kind of nationalism, and his face was chosen deliberately, his stern expression, his flowing hair, the high collar. He represented the so-called founding of European civilization in southern Africa, at least from the ruling government's perspective, but for many, this coin tells another story. A story of what was happening on the ground. A time when newspapers carried more censorship than truth. When curfews were enforced. When voices of resistance were rising, quietly at first, then louder, stronger. This coin passed through the hands of workers and merchants, of students and elders, of people navigating a world that many were determined to change. Imagine that. This little piece of metal passed between lives, between hands that struggled, survived, and hoped. Let's talk about the design. The 1965 South Africa 20-cent coin is made of 80% silver, unlike the modern coins of today, which contain almost no precious metals. It weighs about 5.6 grams. The reverse side shows the delicate but resilient Strelitzia flower, often known as the bird of paradise. It's an artistic, elegant image. But it's more than just decoration. It's a symbol of South African flora, identity, and natural wealth. If you lived through the 60s, you'll remember how coins weren't just money, they were part of daily life. You used them for milk, for newspapers, for bus fare. But you also measured their worth differently. The clink of a silver coin had a distinct sound. A solid feel. It meant something. Over the decades, coins like these slowly disappeared. First, they were pulled from circulation due to changes in metal content. Then came inflation, redesigns, digital payments. But those who held onto their coins, those who tucked them away in drawers or cigar boxes, unknowingly preserved history. Now, let's talk about rarity. Most of the 1965 20-cent coins were used, worn down in pockets and tills. But a very small number were struck with exceptional quality. Some were never circulated. Others were kept in pristine condition, perhaps as part of a collection, perhaps purely by accident. These rare survivors, especially those graded as proof or mint state by professional coin experts, are where the story takes a turn. You see, collectors today don't just want old coins. They want stories. They want pieces of the past that they can touch, hold, and own. And when a coin like the 1965 South African 20 cents comes up in nearly perfect condition, with its shine still intact, its edges sharp, and its history preserved, it's not just a coin. It's a time capsule, and the demand for such time capsules has skyrocketed. Collectors in the United States, the UK, Germany, and even Japan have started hunting for African coins. Why? Because they represent an untold chapter of the numismatic world. Most Western collectors grew up seeing British, American, or European coins. But coins from Africa, especially from politically complex eras, have become the new frontier for collectors. And there's another factor. Silver. As the world becomes more uncertain, precious metals rise in value. And with this coin containing 80% silver, it has a base value just from its content alone. But add to that the historical importance, the limited numbers, and the condition, and now you've got a coin worth far more than its weight. So let me ask you, do you have one? Maybe tucked in a drawer, in a forgotten tin, or passed down from your father's collection. If you do, take a moment. Hold it up to the light. Look at the details. Feel its weight, because here's the part you've been waiting for. A genuine 1965 South Africa 20-cents coin in top condition, graded professionally, stored with care, and sold at the right auction, has recently fetched as much as $56,000. Yes, you heard that right. $56,000. That's more than a luxury car. That's more than most retirement accounts. And it's hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone who recognizes its value. So before you pass by your old keepsake box again, before you ignore the clink of metal in the bottom of your drawer, take a look. You might just be holding a hidden treasure from the past. Not only valuable in dollars, but in stories, memory, and meaning. And remember, subscribe to this channel. Because you never know what other forgotten treasures we'll uncover next. One coin, one story, one moment in time, worth far more than you ever imagined.